And Dr. Takai, or maybe you're more qualified to answer this, what is Iraq's plan?
I'm not quite sure if Iraq has a plan to deal with that. I think the Iraqi regime seems to be full of ill-disciplined forces who may not be able to control the integrity of the camp, as you suggest. This is why I suggest that one of the ways we could go about this is to interview individual camp members to see where they go, if they have nationalities, for instance, in Europe and others.
So if we were to ask Malachi right now, what is your plan? What would he respond?
Well, I'm not quite sure if he has one. I think it's a problem that neither Iraqis know what to do, because this endangers their relationship with Iran. It complicates their relationship with the United States. And it also complicates Malachi's own relationship with the Shi'i community, given the fact that MEK has been implicated in violence against Iraqi Shi'is during the Saddam tenure.
Well, let me ask this. Judge, does anyone have a plan? European Union, Arab League? Does anyone have a plan?
Not that I'm aware of. A particular plan as to the residents of Ashraf? Not that I'm aware of. Congressman, the United Nations does have experience in dealing with displaced refugees. And therefore, they may not have a specific plan for residents of Camp Ashraf, but they do have experience with individuals.
What can the United Nations do to implement their plan? Well, how can they enforce it?
Well, for one thing, the camp can come under the authority of the United Nations, where they would be essentially in control of its physical security.
Would Malachi permit that?
Well, that's something that the United Nations and Maliki to disagree to negotiate with each other. The other thing they can do is look for safe havens for them, which they're more experienced in doing. The United Nations does run refugee camps in vast number of countries.
Well, safe havens also imply that those countries provide assent to the camp residents going into.
Well, some of them,
have any countries expressed any interest in that?
Some of them who are dual nationals would have to be taken back from their country. If they're nationals of Canada.
Have any countries expressed interest in taking back
the dual nationals? It's a question of law. They have to be taken back by the original place. Otherwise,
but has any country publicly expressed interest?
I think some European countries have.
Such as?
Sweden and so forth.
Sweden?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The chairman will, when everyone else has had their time questioning, will begin my questioning. However, now recognize Mr. Brad Sherman, who also has been very active on this issue, but not necessarily on this subcommittee.
And I thank the chairman for his patience. A practical question or two, Mr. Attorney General. If someone happens to be, say, have a visa to go to Sweden, are they allowed to leave Camp Ashraf and go there?
So far as I'm aware, they are.
Okay. And would the residents of Camp Ashraf be safe anywhere in Iraq, say in a Sunni part of that country, or is it critical that we get them out? I see the Colonel with an answer.
I will gladly answer that question.
Not to mention, obviously, any moving of them would be dangerous and would have to be carried out, I think, by U.S. forces. But if they arrived in some other part of Iraq, would they be any safe from there now?
I agree with the young lady that was in the video at the very front. They would not be safe.
Mm-hmm. So either there has to be U.S. or UN protection of Camp Ashraf, or much better, the people have got to be outside of both Iran and Iraq.
That is correct. And if I may add to this, we had approximately 195 defectives that was being protected at the American camp. Working with Barzani, we were able to get them released into Kurdistan, and their fate was a very terrible one, and they ended up having to come back and asking for financial help from the MEK so that they could try to move on with their lives. So the answer, as proven by evidence with what happened to the defectors, is nowhere in Iraq is safe.
Dr. Takei, you seem to be the only person here who thinks it might be okay for the MEK to stay on the terrorist list. Are you aware of any terrorist action attributed to the MEK after the last terrorist action attributed to the IRA?
In terms of in Iraq itself, there's allegations of MEK being part of Saddam's machine against the Shi'i residents before their disarmament. Throughout the tenure of Saddam, those are the allegations.
Are those acts classified as acts of terrorism by the State Department? And are there any specific acts that are attributed?
Well, there's certainly the contention of the Iraqi government that they have, that the MEK membership during Saddam's tenure were actually acting as his Praetorian Guard,
what about the Praetorian Guard of Saddam Hussein and his other? I mean, is everyone who served in the Iraqi army considered a terrorist by the United States?
I'm not suggesting that, Congressman. I'm just suggesting that they were used in specific campaigns, and particularly against the Shiite population.